I'll never forget the first time I truly understood the power of patience in trading. I was young, brash, full of confidence, and convinced that my every move would make me rich overnight. I thought the market owed me profits, that I could force it to bend to my will. I lost money fast, not because I lacked knowledge, but because I lacked patience. You see, trading is not a game of speed. It's a game of timing, observation, and above all, restraint. Today, I want to share with you the secret I learned the hard way. Mastering trading patience is the difference between mediocrity and greatness. When I first began, I was fascinated by action, the excitement of buying and selling, the thrill of seeing numbers move in my favor. I wanted every trade to hit, every stock to soar immediately after I stepped in, but the market does not work that way. The market is like the ocean. It has currents, tides, and storms. You can't force a wave to crash when it's not ready. I learned that the best traders wait. They observe. They let the market tell them the story, and only then do they act. I remember one particular trade in 1907. The panic had everyone running in all directions. Everyone was shouting a buy or a sell based on fear, rumor, or some half-baked tip. I watched, waited, and did not act impulsively. The stocks that everyone rushed to sell fell further, while the ones I had studied patiently began to rise. By waiting, I didn't just avoid losses. I positioned myself to profit when the panic subsided. That day, I understood something essential. The market rewards the patient, not the reckless. Patience in trading is not about doing nothing. It is about strategic waiting. It is about having the discipline to sit on the sidelines, to study charts, to analyze patterns, and to listen to what the market is telling you. Many new traders fail because they confuse activity with productivity. Just because you are making trades does not mean you are making money. In fact, impulsive trading often leads to losses that could have been avoided by simply waiting. I always tell young traders that the big money is not in the buying and selling, but in the waiting. It's a phrase I've lived by. It is a mindset. You must cultivate the ability to separate your emotions from your decisions. Fear and greed are your enemies. They are quick to push you into action to make you chase every market move. But the market doesn't care about your emotions. It only cares about timing, trends, and risk. I also learned that patience is deeply tied to preparation. A trader who prepares thoroughly, who studies the market day in and day out, knows exactly what to look for. Then, when the moment is right, action comes naturally. But action without preparation is gambling, and gambling is a path to ruin. My secret, the one that allowed me to turn small sums into fortunes, was learning to wait for the perfect set. Not the one I hoped for, not the one I imagined, but the one the market actually presented. There's a rhythm to the market. And if you listen carefully, you can sense it. It's like music. If you rush the notes, the melody falls apart. If you move too slowly, you miss the crescendos. The great trader moves in harmony with the market, and that harmony comes from patience, from observation, from discipline. So as we begin this journey into understanding my approach, remember this: mastering patience is not a simple lesson. It's a lifetime commitment. It requires courage, self-control, and a willingness to accept that sometimes doing nothing is the most profitable action of all. It's a skill that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. And if you commit to it, the market will reward you more generously than you ever imagined. In the sections ahead, I will walk you through the core lessons I've learned about patience, the mental strategies I used to master it, and the guiding principles that allowed me to thrive in markets that could easily destroy the unprepared. Not theory. This is real-world experience forged in the fires of triumph and failure. One of the earliest lessons I learned, and the one that changed my trading forever, is this: discipline in waiting is more profitable than impulsive action. I remember sitting in my office late at night, watching tickers crawl across the screens. I had identified a stock that I believed had the potential to rise, yet every instinct in my body screamed, buy it now. But I didn't. I waited. Hours passed, days passed, then finally the stock moved exactly as I had anticipated. That one act of patience brought profits that would have been impossible if I had acted too soon. Patience is not simply sitting idle. It is active, calculated restraint. When a trader acts too early, they risk entering before the trend is confirmed. They'd risk losing capital on a trade that looks promising but lacks the proper setup. I have seen brilliant traders filled with knowledge and insight wipe out fortunes simply because they couldn't wait. Greed and anxiety are powerful enemies, and they disguise themselves as opportunity. The market whispers, and often that whisper is drowned out by the roar of emotion. My job and yours is to learn to hear that whisper and not react to the roar. I developed what I called the art of observation. I would watch a stock, sometimes for days or weeks, waiting for the confirmation signal that the market itself would provide. Patterns, volume spikes, price support levels. These were my indicators, not the tips from the newspapers or the chatter on the trading floor. I would write down my observations, chart them meticulously, and only act when the alignment was perfect. This is discipline in waiting, and it's a lesson every trader must internalize. One mistake many young traders make is confusing patience with indecision. Let me be clear, patience is a strategy, not a weakness. It is the calculated choice to wait for the market to show its hand, to avoid unnecessary risks, and to protect capital. Indecision is fear, patience is power. I have walked away from trades countless times that others would have jumped on immediately, and each time the market proved my restraint was correct. A powerful example from my early career involved a stock that everyone believed was set to soar. Friends, brokers, and newspapers screamed for action. I studied the charts and found that, though the story sounded promising, the price action was weak. I held back. Weeks later, the stock plummeted, taking those who jumped in early with it. By waiting, I avoided a loss that could have crippled my account. That's the difference between impatience and disciplined waiting. Discipline also extends to losses. Many traders panic when a trade goes against them and make rash decisions to recover immediately. I learned to accept losses as part of the process. If a trade does not confirm the pattern I anticipated, I exit quickly and wait for the next opportunity. I do not cling, I do not hope, and I do not chase. This form of patience protects capital and preserves the ability to trade another day, a principle that, if followed, ensures long-term survival and success. Now, let me give you a practical tip. Before entering any trade, define your identify the conditions that must exist for the trade to be valid. Then, wait. Do not act until every element aligns. This is not easy. It requires confidence in your analysis and the courage to sit on your hands while others rush in reckless. But once you master this, you begin to see the market different. You no longer react to every twitch. You respond only to real opportunity. Remember, the market rewards those who wait for clarity. Those who act prematurely pay the price. Discipline in waiting is the cornerstone of trading patience. It is the secret that separates those who survive from those who merely dream of success. And it is the first step toward mastering the market, learning that profits come not from acting on every thought, but from acting on the right thought at the right time. Patience in trading is nothing without emotional control. I've often said, a trader who cannot control his emotions will never master the market. I learned this lesson the hard way early in my career when my excitement, fear, and greed pushed me into trades that looked promising but were far from ideal. The market has a way of exposing impatience. It punishes those who act on impulse rather than reason. Emotional mastery is the second pillar of patience, and it's far more difficult than most traders realize. Remember one instance vividly. I had done my homework, studied the charts, and waited for a stock to break its resistance. The moment came, but my heart raced. I could feel the fear and the anticipation building inside me. Every fiber of my being wanted to act immediately, to buy before anyone else could. I paused, I breathed, and I told myself, wait for the confirmation. The market will show the truth. That small act of self-control made the difference between a modest gain and a substantial loss. Acting on impulse would have destroyed weeks of careful observation. Emotions are deceptive. Greed makes a trader chase a stock that has already moved far beyond its support levels. Fear makes a trader exit too soon, missing the majority of the move. Anxiety pushes you to trade too often, while hope tempts you to hold a losing position far longer than you should. I learned that trading patience isn't just about waiting. It's about waiting with a clear, rational mind. Emotional mastery allows you to remain patient even when the market is screaming. when others are panicking, and when every instinct urges you to act. Here's a technique I developed over years of practice. Whenever I felt the urge to trade impulsively, I would take a step back and ask, am I acting out of logic or emotion? 9 times out of 10, the urge came from emotion. The 10th time, when I was calm and the market conditions matched my criteria, I would act decisively. Emotional mastery is not about suppressing feelings. It's about understanding them and letting the market dictate your action, not your impulse. Another important point, patience without emotional control is dangerous. I have seen traders who wait endlessly, but their fear and anxiety eat away at their decision-making. They hesitate at the right moment and act too late. The true patient trader is calm, composed, and confident. Waiting is not passive. It is an active engagement with the market, executed with discipline and emotional clarity. I also want to share a story about one of my most memorable trades. The market was volatile and every headline screamed fear. Everyone around me was selling, panicking. I had identified a stock with strong fundamentals and the right pattern for a breakout. My emotions wanted to follow the crowd, but I remembered the countless lessons I had learned. Trust your analysis, wait for confirmation, and control your fear. I waited, let the market calm itself, and then entered at the precise moment. The profits were significant, but more importantly, the lesson reinforced itself. Emotional mastery amplifies patience. It allows you to act decisively at the perfect time, rather than react recklessly in chaos. Practical advice for anyone seeking this mastery: start by recognizing your emotional triggers. Document how you feel before, during, and after each trade. Understand what prompts fear, greed, or impatience. Then, create rules that help you wait. Rules like only entering trades when all conditions are met, or stepping away from the desk when your emotions spike. Over time, these practices transform patience from a struggle into an instinct. So remember, the secret to trading patience is not just in waiting for the right setup. It's in controlling the mind and heart while you wait. The market will test your nerves, your confidence, and your discipline. Those who master their emotions can wait with clarity, act with precision, and profit with consistency. Emotional mastery is patience made powerful. Without it, waiting becomes a gamble. With it, waiting becomes your greatest advantage. Over the years, I've learned that words have power, especially the words we tell ourselves as traders. I've often shared insights with colleagues, friends, and even strangers, and some of those statements have become guiding principles for anyone seeking success in the markets. Today, I want to share some of those insights with you because understanding them can transform how you approach patience and trading itself. One of the first quotes I lived by was, the big money is not in the buying or selling, but in the waiting. It's simple yet profound. Most traders think profits come from constant action, from seizing every opportunity that appears. But I've discovered, time and time again, that the market rewards those who wait for clarity, for confirmation, and for the right moment. This patience allows you to capture the larger moves, the true trends, instead of getting lost in the noise of minor fluctuations. Another insight I always emphasize is it is not good to be too curious about all the markets. Focus on your own. Too often, traders get distracted by every ticker, every rumor, every headline. They chase the latest hot stock, without truly understanding its behavior. Patience requires focus. It requires choosing your battlefield and observing it with the discipline of a general, not the frenzy of a gambler. By concentrating on a select few opportunities, you can wait for them to present themselves properly, and that is where the real gains lie. One story illustrates this perfectly. I once observed a particular stock for weeks. I was under immense pressure from friends and brokers to buy early. The temptation was enormous. Everyone else was acting, buying, selling, but I stayed focused on the signals I trusted. I waited. When the time came, the breakout happened exactly as my study predicted. The rewards of patience far outweighed the fleeting satisfaction of impulsive action. This is why focus and selective observation are essential, because without them, patience is wasted. Here's another quote I hold close. Markets are never wrong. Opinions often are. What I mean by this is that the market doesn't care about what you believe, what others say, or how you feel. It moves according to supply, demand, and human psychology, but it doesn't care about your position. Patience requires humility. The willingness to accept that the market knows more than we do, and that our job is to observe, understand, and act only when the evidence aligns. I also like to remind traders, do not anticipate the market. Wait for the market to act. This is crucial. Impatience drives anticipation. We think we can predict the next move, but the market has its own rhythm. To wait is not to do nothing. It is to respect the market's timing. Acting too early often leads to losses, while waiting ensures that when you act, it's with conviction and clarity. Finally, one of my favorite insights. Not a mistake. The mistake is not learning from it. Patience also means being patient with your own development. You will make errors. You will act too early, too late, or on emotion. The key is to observe those errors, extract the lesson, and allow them to refine your patience. The market is a teacher that rewards careful study and punishes impulsiveness. These quotes, these lessons are not mere words. They are guiding principles forged in experience, in triumph, and in failure. They reinforce the truth I have discovered over a lifetime. That trading patience is cultivated through observation, focus, emotional mastery, and respect for the market's timing. Follow these principles, and you will find clarity in a chaotic world. Act impulsively, and you will discover just how unforgiving the market can be. Patience is not passive. It is informed. It is strategic. It is the quiet power that allows a trader to move decisively when the market finally reveals its opportunity. Carry these insights with you. Repeat them, live them, and let them guide your trading journey. The wisdom of patience is timeless. It doesn't change with technology, strategies, or market fads. And those who embrace it will endure, thrive, and prosper. As we come to the final part of our journey together, I want you to take a moment and really absorb this. Trading patience is not a tactic. It is a way of life. It is the foundation upon which every successful trade, every fortune, and every triumph is built. I spent years learning this truth, and it is what separates the average trader from the extraordinary one. If you take nothing else from my experience, let it be this. Patience, discipline, and emotional mastery are your most powerful tools in the market. First, remember that patience is an active skill. It is not sitting idly or hoping for luck to favor you. Patience means preparing, observing, and waiting for the market to reveal the opportunity it has already laid out before you. Every great trade I executed came from careful observation and the courage to wait. The market will always test your nerves, and it will offer moments of opportunity only to those willing to wait and act decisively. Second, emotional mastery is inseparable from patience. A trader who cannot control fear, greed, or anxiety cannot wait effectively. The market is designed to exploit emotions, to punish impulsiveness, and to reward calm precision. I've lost fortunes, yes, but every loss taught me that emotional control is the key to consistent success. Do not let the highs and lows of the market dictate your behavior. Let the market dictate the opportunity, and you dictate your response. Third, always respect the market's timing. You cannot force it to move according to your desires. You cannot predict with certainty what will happen next. What you can do is observe, understand, and act only when the evidence aligns with your strategy. Waiting is not weakness, it is power. The longer you practice disciplined waiting, the more you will notice that the market rewards it generously, often in ways that impulsive traders can never capture. Let me leave you with a story that exemplifies everything I've shared. Early in my career, I watched a stock for weeks. Every day, I analyzed patterns, charted the volume, and studied the market sentiment. My friends and colleagues ridiculed my restraint, urging me to buy immediately. And when the breakout finally occurred, the profits were enormous. That experience was a masterclass in patience, emotional control, and respect for the market. It taught me that wealth is not created by hasty action, but by disciplined preparation and perfect timing. Finally, I want to inspire you to embrace patience in all aspects of trading. Commit to observing the market with focus. Commit to mastering your emotions. Commit to waiting for the right moment, even when it tests your resolve. The journey will not be easy, and you will be tempted to abandon these principles. But those who persevere, those who internalize these lessons, will find themselves operating in a different league, trading with clarity, confidence, and consistent success. Remember this, the market is generous to the patient, disciplined, and prepared. If you act impulsively, it will take from you without mercy. If you wait, observe, and act decisively, it will reward you beyond measure. My success was not built on luck or haste. It was built on patience, preparation, and emotional mastery. Follow these principles, and you too can achieve mastery in trading. So I urge you, as you walk away from this lesson, embrace patience not as a temporary tactic, but as a permanent strategy. Train your mind, control your emotions, respect the market, and wait. The opportunities are there. They always have been. Your job is to be ready to act decisively and to let patience turn your knowledge into profit. In the end, remember this final truth. The market does not rush, and neither should you. Wait, and the market will reward you beyond your imagination.